On today's menu, a delicious recipe that's easy to make and super tasty. Chilled Korean-style ramen. Lehoma, I'm Yeung from YoungManCooking.com. Welcome to the channel where you can cook with confidence. I absolutely love ramen, and you definitely know that, but I bet you haven't tried a ramen that's designed to be enjoyed cold. Join me in today's episode, and we're gonna make this delicious but unique type of ramen. Before we get started on the ramen, we have to make a quick version of a Korean chili paste or gochujang. Now, if you have gochujang that you bought at the supermarket, you can skip this entire step, but if you don't, then you can make this really easy and really delicious gochujang right at home. Small saucepan, medium heat, 1/4 cup cane sugar, 1 cup water, 2 teaspoons salt, 2 tablespoons dark miso paste. That dark miso paste is going to give it that nice, rich, umami, fermented kind of flavor. Dark miso paste is kind of challenging to find. It's the most pungent one, but if you can't find that, you can definitely sub it out with whatever miso paste you can find. 1/2 cup gochugaru or Korean pepper powder. Stir continuously to dissolve the miso paste. Continue to stir and cook for a couple of minutes. 2 tablespoons rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons toasted sesame oil. Turn off the heat and give it a good stir. Look at that beautiful fiery red color. I guarantee this looks really intense, but it's not really that spicy. It's really smoky, and we just need a little bit for this particular recipe, but you can keep the rest in the container, keep it refrigerated for up to a few weeks. Bring a pot of water to boil for the noodles. Add 1.5 cups of veggie stock into another pot. 5 grams kombu. Medium-high heat. Cover the pot and bring to a boil. So this recipe is actually one of the recipes in the vegan ramen cookbook that I published, and the inspiration that went behind this recipe is actually kind of a funny story. When I was in South Korea, I was at a ramen shop and they gave you an iPad to make your order, so it had pictures on there, and of course I don't speak Korean, so I just basically ordered and pointed to the thing that looked the spiciest. So it was just this bowl of ramen that just had this red, fiery looking broth. When I took the first bite, I was like, wow, this is cold. So I was too embarrassed to send it back or say anything. And so I just kept on eating it. And while I was eating it, I was like, man, this actually is really incredibly delicious. It's almost like the bowl of ramen was designed to be served cold, because if the ingredients were actually heated, this would be a completely different dish, and the flavor profile would be completely different. And they got my wheels turning, so that's where that inspiration came from to put into this book, Cold Ramen. Cook the noodles to package instructions. In this case, about 90 grams for 4 minutes. Stir the noodles occasionally to keep them from sticking. When the noodles are done, strain them out and rinse them in cold water. This will keep them from cooking any further. Ramen bowl. 1 generous tablespoon gochujang. 1 teaspoon cane sugar. 2 tablespoons soy sauce. Be sure to use less soy sauce if your veggie stock is salted. 1 tablespoon rice vinegar. 1 tablespoon sake. 1 optional finely chopped chili pepper. Whisk. When the veggie stock comes to a boil, remove the kombu and pour into the ramen bowl. Throw in a few ice cubes and whisk. Add a few more ice cubes if the broth is still warm. Do keep in mind that the ice cubes are literally just water that we're adding into the soup. Now this recipe does take into consideration adding that extra little bit of water, but try not to add too many ice cubes or else it'll really just start to dilute that broth. About half a cup finely chopped Napa cabbage. Add the noodles to the broth and assemble the veggies. About 45 grams of gnocchi mushrooms, a few sprigs cilantro, freshly chopped green onion. This is a delicious smoky chili oil made in the previous episode. I'll leave a link in the description box below where you can check this out, make this really easily at home as well. This is really fiery red, ruby red. And again, it's not super spicy, but very, very smoky. Now the thing about making ramen is that there's kind of a stereotype where ramen is really, really intimidating and really difficult to make, but it's really about prepping in advance and making the actual ramen is just putting everything together, more like assembling. I'll also leave some other links in the description box below where you can check out how to make a base ramen broth as well as ramen noodles. Quarter cup bean sprouts. You can now enjoy this hot and cold ramen with absolute confidence. If it comes in a big bowl, has noodles, and it looks fiery red, I know I'm definitely gonna love it. Look at that. It is insane how packed with flavor and how complex the flavor is, but yet so simple at the same time. That delicious ramen broth has so much flavor in it because you taste that little bit of a seaweed flavor from that delicious kombu, which actually adds a little bit of that saltiness as well. And you get incredible umami from the kombu, the gochujang, which has the miso, and you get that smokiness from the Korean pepper powder from the gochujang, and the chili oil that we placed on top just adds that delicious, delicious smoky flavor. The broth is so tasty, has the sweetness from the cane sugar, and the gochujang has that little bit of a saltiness and umami from the soy sauce. Has that hint of toasted sesame oil from the gochujang, just really adds into that aromatic flavor of that delicious broth. You get a little bit of that tanginess as well from the rice vinegar, and it may feel weird just enjoying this big bowl of cold broth when you think about traditional ramen noodles, but man, that is so delicious. And because it's served cold and you enjoy cold, it gives it a really nice kind of bright flavor. As I mentioned earlier, the bowl is really designed to be served and enjoyed cold because the herbs, the cilantro, the green onion, the Napa cabbage just taste so much brighter opposed to if you were to serve this hot and those herbs would literally just get lost in that hot broth. That little bit of chili pepper and that spicy kick goes really well with that delicious sweetness from the cane sugar. And because it's served cold, it really kind of counterbalances that spiciness. Super easy to make, visually stunning, and definitely something to enjoy during the hot weather. I absolutely love how ramen, there's just unlimited possibilities with it. I mean, it's flavor-wise amazing and delicious, and visually it's just a work of art in a bowl that you can eat. And of course, if you love easy and delicious recipes like this one, then definitely check out the Vegan Ramen Cookbook and the Cook with Confidence Cookbook. I'll leave a link in the description box below where you can check these out, take a sneak peek inside the book, or order your signed copy. As always, remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you won't miss a single episode.